I have... Oh, my goblins are working. Meredith, how you doing? Meredith, you were going by a previous name and I can't remember which name it was, so I'm having trouble making the connection. Erin! Hi! How you doing? Welcome to this highly experimental... I'm using a cardboard box to like try and hold this camera to show my screen. Secret Ember! That's right. My mic isn't coming through super well. Okay. I could turn it up or I could change the mic. There's a little feedback. That is weird. Like an echo? Yeah, I can see. Okay. Alright. Let's see. That's not right. I think this is about the best we can do. What I can do though is I can force it to be mono. So there we go. That's at least forcing mono. You met someone who looks like me just earlier today. Okay, and this should be about, we're hitting just under 10, negative 10? Yeah, okay, cool. That's about as good as I can get it using my current setup. This is, yeah. I can see that there's, I can put a filter on it to drop out the noise. Interesting. The fan is maybe my laptop fan? Let's noise suppress it. Oh, I can choose which method of noise suppression. That looks like it's dropped the noise out. To me, at least. Pretty lady, how you doing? It's early morning times for you, isn't it? This working? Great, all right. So Keith came in the chat, came on an adventure with me this morning. 9 a.m. Okay, yeah, that's a reasonable time. So we went on an adventure this morning, as like the first stage of, Josh, thank you so much for the for the hunt, for the follow. Welcome. How you doing? Yeah. So we went on a train to the one of the industrial parts of Stockholm, and we went for a big walk, and we went into a massive building that was a I've invaded Sweden, and Keith has been assigned to chaperone me around as the closest thing that this country has at the moment to someone to keep me under control. I feel I tweeted the other day about like, oh, I don't have anyone. Voiceover, Kev, thank you so much for the raid. Hello, welcome. We are unboxing the Nifty Bundle. So we went, Keith as my designated European, responsible for keeping me relatively out of trouble, as much as he's capable of doing. As the one European, I think, well, the one person in Europe that actually could is currently in Finland. because they need the only thing that ever keeps me under control is me being worried about disappointing someone. And so that's the only method of controlling the ash. So we went for a walk this morning to the industrial part, or an industrial part of Stockholm, and we went into a gigantic music warehouse. We just went into their like little front section, and we picked up this. So this is the Nifty Bundle, and it includes the Nifty case, chips, cells, and some cables. This is basically the best starter kit for getting into Eurorack modular synthesizers. So modular synthesizers are basically a way to build your own electronic instrument out of modules that connect to each other with cables. And so it's all about like wiring different components together to make different sounds and audio effects and things like that. And I've tried learning a bunch of instruments over time, and it's not really hyper neatos. I've never really had the ability to like practice an instrument in the way that I would need to learn to play music and get really good at it, just because of my experience of like ADHD and neurodivergence. Makes that the required practice quite hard, versus like learning to draw, because each time I draw something, it's a different thing. Whereas music has always, in my experience, required me to practice playing the same thing over and over again, and I can't make my brain do that. This, however, has the advantage of being a thing that I can, rather than Machine Law Zero, thank you so much for the follow. Rather than learning to play an instrument with modular synth and automation and all of those sorts of things, I can, instead of learning to play an instrument, I can build an instrument that plays itself. And each time I want to do something with it, I can build that instrument differently by connecting the cables in different ways. And that's called a patch. So patching it differently means that I will get different sounds out of it. I've never done this before. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a sound out of it today. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a sound into the computer. Lovell, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. So many lovely people from Kev's stream. It's so nice to see you all. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for the Prime sub, Kev. Thank you. So let's open it up and see what's inside, and see what we can do with it, and see if we can make any noise at all today. Because if we can make it any noise at all, I'm going to count that as a win. If we can make something vaguely musical. Did you hear my explanation of modular synths, Josh? Are you familiar with modular synths and the nonsense that they are? And why I'm... Yeah, I'm also aware of the fact that like my channel has a habit of hurting people's ears, so just like please bring your headphones down to a basically the lowest in which things are clear and audible, because my streaming setup has a tendency to sometimes clip out on the audio, and just because of like if I plug something in, oh my goodness. Sometimes the like audio drivers and things will clip out, so yeah, exactly. I haven't been into Eurorack until now, Damien Wise. Thank you so much for the follow. I've been researching it a lot, and because I've moved recently, I've been not letting myself invest anything into it, because I've had a move coming up and I didn't want to have to like buy a bunch of stuff and then ship it across the world. And so this is my kind of like present to myself now that I've moved to the other side of the world, and don't have to worry about it. And yeah, the Nifty Bundle, thanks to all the research I've been doing in place of like, having the research because I couldn't buy anything, so I was just watching so many YouTube videos. Andrew Huang, his YouTube videos are on modular synths are really good. I really love them, and very inspiring. Really made me like, part of the reason that I got so excited was he was able to communicate that excitement and what he found um, exciting and fun about modular synths, and communicate that in a way that I was like, oh, I could do that. So that was really cool. All right, what have we got here? We've got okay. So this is what I was wondering about. This is all of the various different plugs for the power supply. You can see there. So that's the Euro plug we'll be using. I'm wondering how they would do that. And so I'm guessing that this is the power supply block. And we can see here. So that's that clips on. So we will put on the Euro clip somehow. That looks good. Well, yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if you were here earlier, demo-wise, but I've always struggled to learn to play an instrument. So this is my way of being like, hey, you can be a musical person, Ash. Like, you shouldn't be scared of music. Because I have had that reaction. I always look for places where I have a little fear reaction. For instance, I had a really strong fear reaction when to getting into tarot. I really like tarot. I think it's a great tool for one's little Allen key for moving modules around and panels and things. Hey Shane, how you doing? It's good to see you. And I realized that I had a fear reaction, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna. My thing is when I find that I have a fear reaction to something, as long as it's not if it's not rational, if there's no like, hey, that's a person with a gun, right? Or hey, that might actually hurt you. If I have a fear reaction, then my rule for myself is go and meet with that fear, because what you're scared of is the unknown and possibly the fear of failure. And those two things can only ever be dealt with by doing the thing, by engaging with it. And so this is me engaging with music. So yeah, we have a bunch of patch cables. So this is how the main way you kind of do modular performance or playing it or doing it, I guess. Apart from the bit where you buy a bunch of modules and set and fiddle the deets, fiddle the dudes. And then we have the thing itself. So when we went into the music store, I told him what I wanted, which is this thing, and I told him the reference number, and he went and got it out of the warehouse for me, and then he came back and he goes, here is your stuff. And the poor guy working at a music store is usually dealing with instruments, normal instruments, guitars, drum kits, trumpets, pianos. If you say synth to him, he thinks synth with a keyboard. And so when I got this, he's like, oh, it's a thing. And I was like, yep, it sure is. Okay, look at this. That is the desiccant, and we have some stickers. All right. What have we got? We've got, that is a sticker of some kind. This is a Cre8Audio sticker. And then this is, please observe careful orientation to avoid damage. Yes, so this is just telling you about how wiring up modules for, because all of these need power, right? And so one of the main points of this product that I've got that is really good, that we like, oh, it's so heavy. It's very satisfying. The reason that I got this product in particular is because it has all of the things that you need to get started straight away, which is like kind of often getting into Eurorack means you're having to get all these components together and put them together yourself. You have to get a certain number of components, of modules, and all of these sorts of things. But also, so modules are these sections here. We've got 2 plates here for putting more in later. But there's so much that you have to, actually, I'm not listening to anything right now. I can have that off. You also have to have all of the supporting infrastructure to support your modules. So what this one does is, in this case, we've got, it's a nice metal case with wood ends, like nice build quality. And it gives me the power supply, a USB connection, a MIDI in, a MIDI throughput, and an audio output. And it gives me all of those, and then they connect up here to CV1, gate 1, CV2, gate 2. So that's from the MIDI. And also, I think, the USB. I'm not 100% on that yet. For modulation, I'm guessing, and a clock. You can see these up here, right? So these are all in the case, and they're connected to these sections up here. And that means that I don't have to purchase I don't have to build my own case. I don't have to build my own power supply and wire it and create my own power supply wiring. I don't have to have in my rack. So this is the rack here. I don't have to use up any of this space for the power supply module, for the MIDI module, for the output module, or anything. That's all being done up here in the top. So that's really really convenient, and it makes getting started with this with Eurorack a much less daunting challenge, and also just a much less many fewer opportunities to fuck something up and spend a lot of money on something that you don't need or whatever. This is a really cheap, quite as far as Eurorack goes. Eurorack is notorious for being hard to get into, but then addictive and expensive. This gets rid of the hard to get into, so that's probably a bad thing, but that's fine. Just for those of you who aren't familiar with Euroracking, I'm just going to take off one of these panels to give you a little look inside. Yeah, don't need a separate sound card. Yeah, exactly. Boop, boop. Yes, it is the musical equivalent of wargaming, or even Magic the Gathering, I would say, is fairly similar. Wargaming, definitely, though. All right. So, do I have the fingernails to get this on? So inside, you can see that a module is, this one's just a bunch of, so this one here is a bunch of things connected to various circuitry. And then this way, you can see in here is the circuit board that is for the case. And then these are all power connectors for adding more modules, because each module needs to be connected to power. So, oh my goodness, thank you so much for the Prime sub, Josh. That's lovely. So Eurorack is basically just a standardized format for the power, and the rack, the actual like frame here, as a way of making it so that different companies can make these and sell these modules. And that way and they'll all be compatible, right? They'll all be able to fit on the same thing and have and interact. So you can see that the most common thing on these modules. Give me a second. I'm just gonna do this up again. Yes, the standard amounts of voltages. Yeah. So it's a standardization thing for modular synths. So we talk about modular synths could be anything, and then Eurorack is a set of standards that make it easier so that things don't hurt each other and work well together. Yeah, yep. It is a beautiful little product. I'm very happy to have gotten my hands on one. I actually was very happy that I didn't have to order this. There was a place in Sweden that had it in stock, which was very nice. And like, Sweden is a European country, and that makes sense. But also, I don't know, I'm so used to, that'll be 10 weeks to get to you, right? So 2 weeks, and 2 weeks is express. So going for an adventure this morning was lovely for that purpose. All right, how the fuck am I going to do this bit? Because I don't have a power extension. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it fits underneath in this section. It might do. That seems to, what? Carefully, exactly. All right. Moment of truth. The light came on. Oh my gosh, the light came on. Okie doke. So the output on this is just a mono out. Let's see what happens if we connect to this. We have the power. The power of voodoo. Voodoo? Don't have that USB cable. But I do have this cable. So let's see what happens. There's a hilarious second stage here where it's like, okay, but also I'm on a Linux machine and Linux audio, so I'm gonna make sure that I've got everything else muted except for that audio. Okay, so I'm using Ubuntu. I really like Ubuntu for everything, basically. The two things, but Linux audio is notoriously terrible. All right. Input devices. That's a no. That's a no. What's my plan to get audio into the machine? Because that was my plan. Well, but the problem with that is, okay, all right. The problem with that is that what happens if? Yeah, I don't have the right USB cable. What happened if I do this? Curious. Still, this microphone is unplugged. There's it's like I can get the audio into my headphones, but that doesn't get me quite where I want to be. Yeah. Why is that maxing out? That's really weird. Okay. That's an option. Yeah, my laptop. Well, my laptop's not seeing that as a as an input cable. But that's not the end of the world. Okay. I know what we're doing. Okay. Cause I'm a bad guy. No, that's the left. Okay, so Zeke, how you doing? No, it's not quite. It's not quite that. I have enough understanding of what's going on here to know that that's not going to do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this going on these headphones, and then we're going to use the headphones to the speaker. I'm just going to give you the headphones occasionally. You know, like a sane person. Okay. All right. What? Let's. White cables are long cables, I think. Do the output. loud. That's audible for y'all, isn't it? That's actually being picked up by that microphone. Wow. How audible is that? Would you like me to move the speaker closer to your... Oh, noise cancellation might be hurting it a bit. Good point. Move it closer. Okay, we're going to turn off my noise suppression because it might be messing with it, which means that you will hear the hiss of the laptop also. I'm going to move this over here to... Try not to have everything fall down. Let's see if we can do that. How's that as far as being able to hear it? Can you hear this sound? So this is Chips. Chips is a oscillator. It's a chiptunes oscillator. It's using it's creating different kinds of waveforms. So cool thing about Chips is that I can change the waveform type. So this is currently a sawtooth wave. It's going like a just up and down in a line. That's a different kind of wave, which is one that's a bit smoother. This is... Isn't it great? It's just the coolest thing, right? This is amazing. So this is the filter. We can change the tone of it. So it's still the same note. This is the pitch. Right. I have no ear for pitch. One of the first things I can get is a quantizer, which will be a module that goes in here that will move things onto it will kind of round the notes so that they end up being musical notes rather than just random spots. So we can... This one's the filter. The filter is what I would consider to be very similar to the formant in speech and vocals, right? So we start off with a ooh. My lips are very ooh. Without changing the note, we can change the sound, the tone of it. Wee. And then we can have a look at some other waveforms. So this is currently, so we started off on a regular saw wave. Then we came to a larger saw wave. This one is one where the wave goes straight up. I don't know if I can show it to you. If we can see... Whoa, this is very tricky. So you can see that knob there is on. It has the different wave shapes, right? So that's the shape of the rising and falling electrical voltage that causes the sound. So that's that is, so we can change it where I can change it. This is a square wave, and then we get all the way down to one that is just like glitchy all over the place. So when I say like a chiptunes oscillator, it's yeah, so we'll go back to the saw wave. Yeah, this is the sawtooth wave, sorry, not a triangular wave. So that's where we're at. We've made sound. It's going to the headphones, it's not going into the computer, but then the headphones are going into the computer, so that's fine. How cool! Alright. Where's my other white coat cable? The great thing about chips is it has two voices. So some of these are cancelling each other out now. These are combining. That's got them like really off kilter from each other. Oh no, really in line with each other. That's so interesting. So, for instance, so that gives us two kind of voices to be using at the same time, two kind of sounds that we could be using. Yeah, it's everything is waves, and whether or not they're cancelling each other out or whatnot, that's what this is all about. Okay. So, chips is our oscillator, just makes a tone. Really basic. And then we can start doing weird shit with our what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? We could start like overlapping the waves and start fucking with them, right? But so we've got tune, the filter, wheel, and the waveform from like speckly all the way down to like an even tone. But that's only, so each of those voices has 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The fuck is this? This is an LFO, a low frequency oscillator. So an oscillator is a thing that goes bada 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 bada, and that's how sound works, right? But yes, I could just take input from the MIDI in if I wanted to change pitch or velocity. That here I could do that. If you have a look up the top here in our chips thing, we've got the output, which is what I was just plugged into. I had that plugged in down here to the output. We've also got tune and filter, which are two of these knobs. What the fuck are they for? So these are for control voltages. So I could plug something in and change what this knob is doing with a cable. Right? I've learned so much from YouTube. All of this is just stuff I've learned from YouTube. I've been watching a lot of YouTube about this shit. So this down here is an LFO, a low frequency oscillator. Sound is very high frequency, low frequency oscillator. Whoa. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in again our sound. Let's see if we can make that. Just try and get it. There's a tone. We got a tone. And then, yep, an outboard gear to control what the knobs would do. So, cable is going from I should have put this camera on the other side, but whatever. Let's change the tune, right? So the tune input. And then we're going to go from the output 1 out of the LFO. I think. Okay, let's turn that right up. Oh, let's change the rate. You can see this little thing's blinking as it goes up and down. So this is oscillating very slowly. We can go real fast. We can bring it back down. You can hear the difference in the different kind of wave, right? What about if we switch it to the sawtooth wave? It should go up and then down. Because it's a sawtooth wave. We can make that sawtooth slower. There are a lot of websites with all of this stuff on them, Meredith. Modular synth, Eurorack are the Google terms you need to find out. We can make this sawtooth wave go faster. Or we can use a square wave. Or we can use our scatter. So the scatter is random, right? Like, oh yeah. So this is all by Cre8Audio, C-R-E, the number 8, audio. Isn't this fucked? It's so good. It's so good. This is just with the oscillator module. We haven't touched the other one yet. Right? Like, fuck. Let's do this. Output 2. We're going to change the tune of the second chip, the second voice. That interference is annoying. I don't like using the second one at the moment with the current equipment because the interference is not working very well. That's fine. We will do one voice things. What I could do is take the second output and put in the filter. So now we're also changing the filter based on the LFO. So that, and we're back to flat tone again. Okay, oscillators. Fuck. All right, mate. Let's turn those both back down. All right. So the depth is how much it moves, and then the rate is how fast it moves. Great, cool, good, got that. All right. How do I use cells? That is, I don't know that Warm Rocks is going to do it, Nightbot. CV, gate. Maybe I should look up how to use cells. Let's do that. I'm going to look that up on my phone now. Cre8Audio cells. It is a programmable TV touchpad. Yep. So, all right. Uses a controller and a wacky sequencer. Yeah. Okay, let's get the tone back again. And then let's try plugging things in. Let's try changing the tune again. With how do you do? I mean, gig 1 CV. That's all right. We're experimenting. This is an experimentation stream. I'm gonna unplug that for a second. I'm gonna just grab a glass of a drink because it's warm here. So just give me a second. Where did I put my glass though? Oh. Hello. I mean, I can get another one out of the cupboard. There's a whole cupboard. It just seems wasteful. I don't know what to do with that. Okay. Let's just have another quick look online. Okay. So this is right. Video manual and other missing information. Video manual.
So what's cells? Cells is a dual-channel unipolar voltage generator. In other words, it's a bunch of cells, and each cell can be programmed to 2 different notes or voltages, and then you play them with your finger. You can also sequence them, so you can make it play itself. Let's tune the first channel of 4 cells. Press a cell to select it, hold tune 1, and use the left knob to tune the cell.
Hold up. You went too fast.
You can also sequence them, so you can make it play itself. Let's tune the first channel of 4 cells.
Okay. So, that's the same as I've got it. Can I see this bigger, please? You've got the output. To out. Cool. Control voltage on 1.
Press a cell to select it. Hold tune 1 and use the left knob to tune the cell.
I didn't tune any of the cells. So when people talk about, right? Yeah, they're touch sensitive. Yeah. So when people talk about modular is how you build your own synthetic audio instrument. This is how you do it. Let's change the filter. How cool is that? All right. Let's keep learning about this fucking bullshit.
So the second one, tune. Third one, tune. And four.
It's like, nice triad in the little like text comments, and I'm like, I don't even know what a triad is. I'm sorry. Okay.
There are two tuning modes in cells. Quantized mode has a limited range but is easier to tune. This is the default state.
It is
But
quantized.
you can also go into freescale mode, which has a wider range but is not so musical to tune.
That's why.
Press tune 1 and tune 2 at the same time to access this mode.
Okay. So I could do. So this is currently.
You can sequence cells
So this is quantized to semitones. So all of these should be semitones. That's why we're feel. This is why. That's why this is feeling kind of musical. But I could set it to be not rounding. It's quantized. You know how I said earlier that that I was going to get a quantizer to keep things from getting too unmusical, right? To round it off. And Cells is doing it anyway for me? This bundle is so good. It's so powerful. What the fuck?
by sending triggers into these inputs. Sending triggers into this input makes it go that way, and in this input, that way.
Okay, so remember our LFO, our low frequency oscillator. What we're going to do is we're going to take the output and then putting it into the, that's why it's an arrow! Right, so, I don't know if you can see, these two are labelled with little arrows. It's hard to see on this camera, but yeah, yep, absolutely. They're pointing in the directions of the cells in this, they're pointing, here we go, this is actually better, isn't it? Like a little vomit inducing, I apologize. So, this one goes this way. Right? And this one, focus please. This one goes this way. Which at the moment we haven't got set. But let's, so we've got our out there. Let's make this a bit quicker. Not quite sure what the difference is on these two. They're fourths, they're quarters of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go down. Let's go down. Let's go down. This one, let's change that note. What the fuck? This is so cool! This is amazing! Check this. Now we're using a random wave. Yes, in a random rhythm. This is wild. That is okay, Josh. It was lovely to have you here for this bit. So, this is so cool. Oh, you can't hear it as clearly because I moved the camera. This is so good. And then if we had, what's tune 2 for?
You can touch a cell at any time to interrupt the sequence. But it will resume when you release your finger.
When you hold multiple cells.
And use the right knob to set the amount of repeats. In free mode, you will add an octave on every repeat.
Well, that's fucking brilliant. I'm so happy. Okay. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So. We're getting a control voltage out of that as well, though. Oh, we get a second control voltage. What? Right, so this one can have a different tone. My hands are sweaty. I don't quite understand that. Yeah, Mom's spaghetti, exactly. Okay. 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 So that goes into this way. And then we go across the other way. And I don't even know what the second knob does. I think it... It gives me a second control voltage. So this should, theoretically... This is a lot less. So it looks like this one's an octave up as well. So that's incredibly cool. All right. So the hope with this is to, like, I've started making music. That's incredibly cool. What I'm going to be doing is learning some music theory so that I can make this a little bit more musical. Maybe getting some extra elements here to connect to make to create some more more complex sounds. I mean, there's so much complexity here already. The fact that cells is naturally the fact that cells is quantized to start with is dope. That's incredibly cool. Let's put this back to start. And so like it's cool to make music. That's fun. But B, when Twitch streaming, having the game music or any other music on while you're playing or during your hold screen runs the risk of getting you DMCA'd. Because it's someone else's music, right? And the options are, go and find musicians that are cool with using their music and hope that their record company doesn't DMCA you even though they're cool, or using independent musicians, and like that's a good way for them to get coverage if you get their permission, and then put it out there, right? Like, so then you're like, hey, we're listening to such and such. That's a really good way of bringing up any musicians. But the other option is make my own music, or rather make my own instrument that plays itself. And in this case, that's what this is going to be. So we've been streaming for about an hour, and this has been super cool. And I'm going to go away, and I'm going to learn to use this a bit better. And theoretically, in future, when I'm streaming, you should get to hear the outputs of this once I've got the correct cables, as part of the stream experience. That's my plan. I wanna make it all a part of a creative whole. But for the meantime, I'm gonna go away and play with this some more. I'm just aware of the fact that like being on camera and like doing the performing is tiring me a little, and I want to be able to not worry too much about like the audience while I'm doing the kind of technical experimentation that I would do, where I will go into a much quieter mode while I experiment. But yeah, this is my new toy. I'm very excited to play with it some more. And I will catch you later. If anyone has a channel that we should raid, let me know. Otherwise, I will catch you later.